Archibus in the attic. The house loomed skeletal against the dying sun. Decrepit and forgotten, a monument to a bygone era. A tattered exterior of overgrowth with empty eye-socket windows staring sightlessly back. The darkness within twisted and writhed. A malignancy festering for decades, feeding on silence and despair. Archibus, a dog that was once known for his wagging tail and sloppy kisses, shuffled through the attic. A spectral echo of his former self. Whimpers that were once pleas for attention, morphed into a low, mournful growl scraping against the dusty floorboards. He was a prisoner, tethered to a decaying purgatory by the cruelty that marked the remainder of his mortal life. His people, the monsters who sealed his fate, were long gone. Vanished like whispers on the wind. Their absence did little to alleviate Archibus's suffering. He was still a slave to their cruelty, a ghostly tether binding him to the attic. The scene of his final torment. A sound, fluttering in the gloom. Bats drawn to the darkness that pulsed within the attic. They had claimed it as their own. At first, Archibus recoiled from them. Grotesque parodies of wings and teeth. But as the nights stretched into an eternity of solitude, a chilling realization dawned on him. These creatures, these denizens of the night were not his tormentors, they were his instruments. In the suffocating silence a dark pact was forged. Archibus, his loneliness morphing into a monstrous hunger, learned to manipulate the bats. He bent their primal nature to his will. He became a conductor of chaos, his spectral howls a twisted symphony that compelled the bats into a dark dance. The attic, once merely a dusty prison, had transformed into a macabre throne room. The air crackled with a sinister energy, a tangible manifestation of Archibus's festering rage. The floorboards became slick with the remnants of unfortunate prey. A grim testament to his growing power. One moonlit night, a tremor of excitement shook the cobwebs from the rafters. Footsteps. The unmistakable thud of human intrusion. A thrill of anticipation, sharp as a shard of glass, pierced through Archibus's despair. A group of teenagers, fueled by bravado and a thirst for forbidden thrills, had breached the house's defenses. They ascended the creaking stairs, their flashlights casting smoky shadows that danced on the walls. They were trespassers, oblivious to the hungry darkness that awaited them. Archibus, a spectral emanation of pure evil, materialized before them. A spine-shivering, guttural growl erupted from his throat. The teenagers' bravado shattered. They were met with a sight that would forever scar their souls. With a howl that echoed through the attic, Archibus unleashed his bat battalions. The creatures of the night descended upon the intruders in a whirlwind of leathery wings and gnashing teeth. Screams raw and primal filled the attic. Flashlights clattered to the floor, their beams extinguished in the face of the oncoming darkness. The teenagers transformed from thrill-seekers to terrified prey. Scrambling for escape, their desperate pleas were swallowed by the cacophony of terror. The feeding frenzy was swift and merciless. The bats, fueled by Archibus's dark will, left a trail of devastation in their wake. When the last echo of a scream faded, an eerie silence returned to the attic, punctuated only by the soft drip of something far more unsettling than water. The news of the teenagers' disappearance spread like wildfire through the town. Chilling conversations floated around crackling fireplaces and dinner tables. The house itself became a forbidden zone, a monument to the horrors that lurked within. Years passed, the paint peeling further, the roof sagging under the weight of neglect. One autumn afternoon a solitary figure approached the house. A woman with eyes as haunted as the house itself. It was Sarah, the sister of one of the missing teenagers. She had refused to believe the official story of a runaway group. A gnawing unease festered in her gut. Ignoring the warnings of the townsfolk, Sarah made her way into the decrepit house. A cold gust of wind whipped through the dusty interior. She navigated the debris-filled rooms, her heart hammering against her ribs with each creak of the floorboards. Finally, she reached the attic stairs. The air grew colder as she ascended the cragged steps. At the top, she found a sight that froze her blood. The attic was no longer a dusty prison but a macabre throne room. Cobwebs draped the rafters like hair-strung curtains and the floorboards were layered with a dark viscous liquid. In the center, perched on a pile of bones, sat Archibus. His spectral form glowing in a devious crimson. Sarah let out a strangled gasp. The sound echoed eerily in the silence. Archibus turned his head, his sinister eyes burning with a cold, predatory hunger. He recognized a flicker of defiance in her eyes. A challenge to his reign of terror. With a gnashing growl, he unleashed his bat battalions. But Sarah, fueled by grief and a desperate hope, stood her ground. She had brought a satchel filled with a concoction gleaned from dusty grimoires. A mixture of herbs and holy water rumored to repel the creatures of the night. As the bats descended, Sarah flung the concoction into the air. It exploded in a cloud of shimmering mist, momentarily halting the creature's advance. She immediately sprinted across the room and snatched a rusty nail from a broken crate. Dipping the nail in the remainder of the potion, she readied herself. Archibus, enraged by her defiance, surged forward. He lunged, his ghostly form shimmering like a curse. In that instant, Sarah plunged the nail through the center of his terrifying form. Archibus let out a blood-curdling shriek, a sound that shook the very foundations of the house. He flickered in and out of morphing shadows. And suddenly gone, dissolved into a wisp of smoke that dissipated into the stale air. The bats, deprived of their master, screeched in confusion, and scattered into the night. Sarah collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath. Her body ached but a flicker of triumph warmed her heart. She had avenged her brother and freed the house of its ill-fated master. To this day, the house remains abandoned. A chilling tale of a once loyal companion, twisted by the loneliness and cruelty he endured. Wreaking havoc alongside the unholy alliance of bats for so many decades. Finally freed of the curse. Although, some say a blood-crimson glow of light has begun oozing from the basement windows. Could it be? Who will be brave enough to find out? Will it be you?